Manchester United won, West Ham won. This is going to be very short and quick because I didn't see this game live. My attention was on the Chelsea versus Leeds game simply because that game started first. But rewatching the game in 2 times speed, I think I can point two things that West Ham did differently from Tottenham that was a bit difficult for United to actually find solutions to. One was the way they dealt with United's build-up and the pressing traps that they set. And then the second one was the way they were also able to get out of United's press. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, first thing is the way that West Ham dealt with Manchester United's press. Of course, we're used to this United's way of building out. They didn't try to put pressure on United's first line of build-up. Instead, they sat very deep in that mid-block and allowed United to actually come with them. These 4 players, in fact, these 5 players here did not have any pressure on them during the first phase of the build-up usually. But anybody who is receiving the ball within the line, they didn't close the person down immediately or press him immediately. They left him free. It was as soon as the ball gets to anybody within that line that the person gets quickly closed down and then United are forced backwards. Like on this occasion, Brian Mbeumo looked free, but as soon as he received the ball, he was the pressing trigger. Bowen immediately pressed him and took the ball away from him. And kudos to Mbeumo, he recovered. He came back, he took the ball. But look at another example. This is United's build-up again. And if you notice, look at the West Ham players who are supposed to be pressing. 2 of them have their backs turned. They are not interested in applying pressure to that first line of the build-up. They want instead for United to come out a little bit and look for a pressing trigger. On this occasion now, Kobbie Mainoo is going to be the pressing trigger in this case. They sat back, waited for him. Again, it would appear as if nobody is focused on Kobbie Mainoo, that he is free in the middle to receive the ball. But that's the pressing trap. It seems as if he has a bit of space. But as soon as the ball gets to him, that's the pressing trap. Somebody is immediately on him. Kudos to Kobbie. He held his own. I think that overall, United's play on the ball wasn't really terrible. But what West Ham did very well in this game was to sit back. You know, United compressing the pitch and then trying to create space on the other side. We analyzed it a lot in the Tottenham game. West Ham simply dealt with that by dropping players really deep. Doesn't matter where United wanted to concentrate players into. They allowed United to have the ball in those areas. But as soon as United tried to switch the ball, that is where the pressing starts and that is where they recovered most of the ball. But again, like I said, this is a game that I only watched in 2 times speed. But from, again, United's press, West Ham did something different. Remember in the Tottenham game where we talked about somebody running, curving their run and then cutting off the passing lane to one defender, forcing Tottenham to go one way and then immediately applying pressure there. West Ham had a solution for that. See what I'm talking about? Now, West Ham are trying to build that from the back. And of course, Bruno Fernandes curves his run. He wants to cut off the passing lane to this defender, naturally to force West Ham to go one way. But what West Ham did here was simply just committing players to that phase of play. If you look here, they've been successfully able to create a 4 versus 3. Now, this is something that Tottenham did not deal with particularly well in the previous game. But here, even if United had 3 players in that phase of play to try to squeeze the pitch and create that press, West Ham simply created that defensive overload there. And with those 4 players, they could outnumber Manchester United there and easily play out of it. That was it. They gotten out of that press and then take the ball out wide. And look at another example again. Now, this is another West Ham build-up. And of course, as it happened previously, West Ham are forced to take the ball wide because Bruno Fernandes have cut off the passing lane to one defender. But what naturally happens here is you notice that as they come wide, even when United as usual have put 3 players on there, again, West Ham could simply create that defensive overload there with 4 players and easily play out of that Manchester United press, just in the same way they did previously. In fact, on this occasion, it almost led to a chance that Dalot had to make a good recovery here. But again, it's dealing with how United wants to build out and also dealing with how United wants to press. Now, I'm not going to lay too much emphasis on a game that I only watched once. But I can see that West Ham has become the first team to try to adapt to Michael Carrick's style of football. And these are things that we need to keep an eye on in the next game. I think United's next game is going to be against Everton. Everton are a tricky customer coming with United's former coach. So let us see how Carrick's tactics evolves from this point onwards. I'm going to watch that game. I promise. I am going to watch the Everton game, and then we can come back and do a concise tactical analysis, whichever way the result goes. But again, disappointing for Manchester United, but I don't think it was a terrible performance. In fact, they should be lucky that they actually got a point from this game, because it could easily have been a 1-0 defeat. But that's it anyway. Hit the like button. Drop a comment below. If you spotted something in the game that I did not see, drop the comment. Let us have that conversation. I'll see you on the next one.